side aisle. The family's in the first row. You can please use the side aisle. The family's in the front row. You can please use the side aisle. The family's in the front row. You can please use the side aisle. The family's in the front. You can please use the side aisle. The family's in the front. Are those cards for the family?
Yes.
I can make sure they get them for you.
Thank you.
You can please use the side aisle. The family's in the front. You can please use the side aisle. The family's in the front. You can please use the side aisle. The family's in the front. I think Jake needed you. If you could please use the side aisle. The family's in the front. You can please use the side aisle. The family's in the front. You can please use the side aisle. The family's in the front. If you could please use your side aisle, the families in the front. If you could please use the side aisle, the families in the front.
Have you had a chance to sign the register book yet?
You can just use this side aisle cameras in the first row. You just use the sundial, you can see the family in the first row if you want.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin our funeral service, I'm going to ask if we can turn off or silence all cell phones or electronic devices. Thank you.
Well, thank you, first of all, to everyone for being here. It means a lot. I'm Rabbi David Englander of Congregation Bethel, and I just want to start by saying that we are here with all of you today in your sadness and after your very significant loss. Your Bethel family is with you, especially Rob and Lori and Steve, to whom Congregation has meant so much over the years. Being together in the sacred space to reflect, to remember Helene's life, to mourn her loss. This is a very difficult thing to do, and that perhaps could even go without saying. Our Jewish tradition can be our guide in moments of uplift and in better times of joy. It can also guide us as much as we allow it to in the aftermath of loss that is always accompanied by grief. As it does, we keep in mind the age-old question of whether a funeral is more for the one who has passed away or those who are left in the wake of the sudden absence of someone who was part of their lives for a significant portion of their lives. And like many Jewish questions, I want to suggest that the answer is yes. This service is meant to inspire memory and to allow words of kindness and praise to be expressed. And in that there is honor that is brought to Helene's life and her earthly journey. And this service is for sure meant to begin to comfort all of you who will remember Helene, who will tell her story to others, and who will now support each other and hopefully allow yourselves to be supported by family, friends, community, faith, and the ever more hopeful future that lies ahead for each of you. We begin the liturgy of our Jewish funeral service by reciting Psalm 23 in both Hebrew and English. It begins Mizmor LaDavid, Adonai ro'i lo echsar, bino teshi arbitzeni, al mei menucho yinahaleni, nafshi yeshovev yanchenu magle tzedek l'man shemo. Gam ke'elech begeit salmavet lo irara ki atayim adi shivtecha mishantecha, hema yinachamuni, taroch lefanai shulchan neged zorai, tishanta v'shem en roshi kosiravaya, ach tov v'chesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai v'shavti b'veit Adonai, le'orech yamim, the Psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me to lie down in green pastures, leads me beside the still waters. God restores my soul and guides me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
With each passing hour, we come to realize how truly fragile life is. With each passing day, we consider how blessed each of us truly are. We stand in awe of God's love that allows us to grow. We wonder what we have done to deserve graciousness. But in the end, our lives are indeed but a passing breath, and all that will remain is the shadow of where we once stood. So we pray, dear God, to teach us to number our days and to realize what truly matters most. Help us to remember that integrity and honor are eternal. The decisions we make each day shape the way we are remembered in the future. Those who mourn, whose loved ones are now hidden from view, continue to guide our lives when our values mirror theirs. When we have decisions to make, we call on them. When we need love and support, they are with us still. For as long as we shall live, they will live too, for they are forever a part of us when we remember them. The mysteries of life and death are beyond human understanding. We are pained and perplexed. When anguish befalls those whom we love, and sorrow confronted by death, which has taken Helene Friedman from our midst. We feel our frailty. We pray, dear God, that you grant solace and comfort to those who mourn. May their lives together help to sustain them and add to the blessing which is theirs in the memory of their beloved. In the valley of the shadow of death, beside the still waters and in green pastures, you, O Lord, are our shepherd. Be our strength and our shield, our stay and our comfort throughout all our days. Together we say, Amen. Good people, it is with heavy hearts that we come together today to pay tribute to the memory of Helene Friedman, taken far too soon from our midst in recent days. You know, there is something truly wonderful, inspiring, and awesome about being able to live life on your own terms, the way that Helene did. I think that many of us would wonder, what it would be like if we could live a life free of inhibition, free to do what we wanted to do when we wanted to do it, to speak about whatever was on our minds, to share whatever was in our heart. Well, your mom and your sister, she was able to do that. And even though when someone lives their life that way, it can sometimes be unpredictable for those around you, there was no one who was more alive in the moment than your mom. When she said something was the best, she really meant it. She knew how to savor the things she liked and how to throw herself fully into the relationships with those she loved. And when she said she loved you, and you were her best friend, you knew she really meant it. She was fully invested in all of you. You were her world, and I know how very, very grateful all of you were to have had her in yours, and to know that come what may, she was always in your corner. Today we come together to pay tribute to Helene's memory, to recall what was good and great about her, and to in turn be inspired by the passion with which she lived her life. Family was everything to Helene. She came from a good one. Steve, Rob, your mom and dad devoted their lives to the two of you and to your sister. They were the bedrock on which this beautiful family was built. The three of you grew up initially in Mount Airy. Steve, you were the oldest, and then came you, Rob, and 364 days later, Helene. And in fact, the two of you were born so close that you were often considered twins, until people got to know you, and then they realized you were kind of different, one from the other. But in truth, you both could look back fondly on what it was like growing up together with your sister and how much she loved her big brothers. I also know how much she relied on the unconditional love of your mom and dad. Now, Helene leaned on them, but she in turn was totally devoted to the two of them as well. This family was and is and always will be a very tight-knit one, and that is a source of strength and comfort to you now and always. Steve, Rob, your sister was a live wire. She could be impulsive, even when it came to some of the biggest decisions in life. And so it was, you were very surprised on one hand, and I guess not so surprised on the other, that your sister eloped in Vegas with Eric. When she came home and she told you and your parents that she married Eric, you all said the same thing, Eric who? And yet, the two of them really were so well suited for one another. It wasn't simply that they both loved rock and roll, turning the stereo up to 11. More importantly, they both saw the world with a sense of childlike wonder. Both of them appreciated all the things in life that made them happy, and they shared that enthusiasm with everyone in their lives. And even though they couldn't always live under the same roof, there was no doubt that they were truly in love with one another. In time, Helene and Eric were blessed with 3 wonderful daughters, Shauna, Ashley, Nikki. All three of you knew pretty early on your mom wasn't just like everybody else's mom. She was unique. She was the spontaneous, jump in the mud puddle kind of mom. The kind of mom who wanted your lives to be full of fun, and nothing made her happier than making the 3 of you happy as well. You know, some moms have to encourage their kids to get up and get dressed and get out of the house and go to school. Well, your mother encouraged you to play hooky and stay home and play with her. That's how much, though, she wanted to be around the 3 of you as much as possible. She was as much a friend as she was a mom, and your friends became her friends, and your house became the house to hang out in, and your friends could confide in her in ways they probably could confide with no one else. And because of the trust that they had in her, she made an indelible impression, not just on your lives, but on your friends as well. She was so open and accepting, and her soul lives on not just through you, but all the lives of those she touched. Shauna and Ashley and Nikki, your mother was so very proud of all 3 of you and the lives that you made for yourselves. She could not wait to share your every achievement with pretty much everybody she met, day in and day out. Knowing what you have done with your lives made her so very, very happy and fulfilled. And in time, she was blessed with 3 sons in Matt, Anthony, and Kyle. And that's the way that she saw the 3 of you, like her own children, like her own sons. She appreciated you not only for who you were, but for the happiness that you brought into her daughters' lives. As a parent, there's nothing more than we want than for our children to have the kind of partners who will be with them, stand by them, make them strong, and help them to grow. And well, when she became a Gigi to Carter and to Blake, she was over the moon happy. I'm sure, Shona, you'll talk about the many gifts that she gave to little Carter, so much so that he expected one every single time she came through the door. But of course, the greatest gift in her life was him. And even though little Blake and the other grandchildren to come will not be able to have that kind of time with her, they'll know all about her because of everything that you have shared with Helene over the years. As I said, this is a very tight-knit family. And I know that, Laura, you were like a sister to Helene. She always could rely on you. And the 2 of you shared so much over the years. Carly and Rachel, the same for the 2 of you. You got your Aunt Helene. And the same, Steve, for you, and Lindsay, and Rob, and Tessa, and Hudson, were all such an important part of Helene's life. She loved all of you so very, very deeply. This loss is especially sad because Helene was in a good place. She enjoyed the celebrations with her family, especially in the wake of losing her mom, your mom. Helene should have been given more time. She should have had many, many more years with all of you. And yet she made the most of her life, most of the days, living her life on her own terms, fully. I am who I am. That was your mom. She lived her life free from inhibition, free to speak her mind, free to do some of the crazy things you never thought she would, and yet free to share her whole heart unconditionally with the people who meant the world to her. She was proud and she was protective of her family. Through all the ups and downs, she never held a grudge. She always saw the good in others. And when all was said and done, she always made sure you knew just how much she loved you. And now it is that love that all of you share that will sustain you and strengthen you in the wake of her loss. This loss draws you closer. This tight-knit family strengthens the bonds. And so, to be her living legacy, you too should live fully, love deeply, speak the truth that is in your heart, draw others close with kindness and compassion, and your lives will forever be blessed by the soul of this unique and loving daughter, wife, aunt, mother, and Gigi grandmother. May her soul rest in peace. Amen. We're going to hear from two speakers in addition here today, and we'll start with you, Shauna, please.
Hi everyone. I've been going back and forth about getting up here today to say something up until literally a minute ago. I really wanted to because I want to honor my mom, but every time I would go to write something, the words just wouldn't come to me. And it's not because I have nothing to say. It's because I have too much to say, but I just can't find the words. I think that's because this loss is so massive and so shocking that there's no words that sufficiently describe what my sisters and I and many people in this room are experiencing right now. I still find it hard to believe I'm standing here at the funeral of my mother and speaking about her in the past tense. I just can't really grasp it yet, so I'm going to try my best right now, so just please bear with me. My mom was the most special person in my life. This is true if at times I didn't even realize it. I'd be lying if I stood up here and said that our relationship was perfect, because it most certainly wasn't. The truth is we had a roller coaster of a relationship throughout my life. She and I fought and argued harder than anyone else I'd ever met. She had the ability to ignite my temper in a way that no one else could. I'm sure a couple other people in this room as well. However, no matter what was said or how many curse words were slung at one another, we always repaired over and over and over again. I'm fortunate that over the past 3 years, those disagreements drastically decreased, and our relationship blossomed into one that at one point in my life I would have never thought was possible. The pivoting moment in time that our relationship turned was when I had my first son. I'm eternally grateful for all of the special moments we shared together and how close we became once I became a mother myself and she became a Gigi. I could talk for hours about the relationship she formed with my son and how much he absolutely idolizes her. My most cherished memories with her all involve the relationship she had with my kids because it was the most beautiful and special thing I ever witnessed. Seeing her as a Gigi to my kids gave me a glimpse of the mother she was to me and my sisters when we were that young. My mom was the definition of who a Gigi is supposed to be. She was always dressing up like superheroes with my son Carter, crawling around and roaring like a dinosaur for him, or reenacting scenes from Peppa Pig. Every day she would come over to see him, she always brought him something, whether it was a toy he didn't need, a donut, special shaped pastas, a cake to cook together, just anything. She never came empty-handed, to the point where most kids my son's age will see something they want and say, I'm going to ask Santa for that. But instead, my son would say, Gigi will just buy that for me. She would do anything for him. But that's the thing with her. She would do anything for anyone she loved. She was always, always, always there for me when I needed her or when my sisters needed her. There were times I would call her at 4 or 5 in the morning because I was sick and needed help with my kids, and without hesitation, she'd be over within 10 minutes. She looked for others and to make sure others were okay and taken care of. When I posted the news that she passed away, I was overwhelmed with the outreach I received from people I hadn't spoken to in 10 or 20 years about memories of my mom helping them or defending them or just being there for them. This shows how big her heart was, how amazing of a person she was, and the everlasting impact she had on those around her. I want to thank everyone for being here today to honor my amazing mom, and supporting me and my sisters during the hardest time in our lives. Less than 2 years ago, we also lost our dad, and we got through those dark days with each other. And even though we're all heartbroken right now, I know we will get through this nightmare together, because my parents always taught us to stick together, and I know that's what we'll do. Thank you.
Thank you, Shauna, for sharing so beautifully and poignantly of your heart. We're going to call Donna now.
There are people in this world who you meet and vaguely recall their name, but Helene Friedman was not one of those people. She was always bigger than life, with her wild antics and hilarious humor and compassionate heart. If you ever spoke to Helene, you walked away with bruises on your arms because talking with her was like a full-body contact sport. When she spoke, she did it with her hands, elbows, and whatever body part was near you, to push and prod and laugh and hold your hand. I won't do this. I absolutely love that about her. Helene and I first met around 25 years ago due to Shauna and my son Michael becoming buddies in kindergarten. Could have been first grade, we're old and we couldn't recall. Eric took Michael under his wing like he was his own son. Helene was always cooking something in the kitchen and she and I would just sit back and watch and giggle. It was truly the cutest thing ever. There was this one time when Helene and I were walking into the Woodcrest pool and we were laughing so hard over something I have no memory of, but all of a sudden she showed me that her tooth fell out and I was horrified. We started to look for it holding one another because we couldn't stop laughing. She fell over on the grass laughing and I was on my hands and knees on the concrete laughing, looking for the freaking tooth. She then told me that it was a fake tooth and it falls out sometimes. I looked up and over at her and was speechless for a second, and I laughed even harder. At that point, we had been friends for years, and this rogue tooth was not something I was privy to. We laughed so hard I thought one of us was going to pass out or pee our pants. Pretty sure the latter occurred. We both had 3 kids each, so if you know, you know. We sat together at Nikki's wedding, and it was like old times. She shared her vulnerability with how she had been navigating her way through life, and some very special moments and memories. We both just kept holding one another and laughing. Sorry. And sighed with how life can be so unfair and painful, and how the beautiful moments are like water in a marathon. They are there, but maybe not as often as we would like or need. For many reasons, what she shared with me was not only funny, but so precious. Very few people are courageous enough to bring up my son. Helene didn't hesitate, and I will always be grateful to her for that. She was always so beautifully bold, and there is so much courage and love in that space. Oh yes, my arms are still bruised from our little chit-chat. Nikki recently told me that I was this great influence in her life, and then proceeded to tell me why. Besides teaching Nikki how to click her gum, I apparently taught her how to slide down the stairs on couch pillows in my home. Well, her mom shared that same exact memory while I was sitting next to her at your wedding. By the way, not exactly sure how that makes me the best and most positive influence, but Auntie Donna surely can add some fun times and wild antics. I'm just glad you didn't break anything. Your mother would have handed me my ass. Although I'm pretty sure she tried that couch pillow staircase right herself. Helene was a light in this world. I sadly watched as the shine in her eyes dimmed after her beautiful father died. Sonny was her world, and she was never quite the same after that. When she called me to tell me what happened, I ran to her and held her in my arms. I could feel the agony in her body, and I knew there were no words to comfort her heartache. Sunny was her first anchor, her first smile, her heartbeat. She was his baby girl who just lost her daddy. If anyone knew Sunny, you just knew. Sometimes our losses break us. The darkness takes over, and it's like being in a closet trying to find the doorknob blindfolded. It was so sad to see this wild, magical, bold soul of a woman dim. Yet she never lost her inner spark and still had her moments where she was so beautifully compassionate and loving and funny. What I know with 100% certainty is that your mama loved and adored you, Shauna, Ashley, and Nikki, more than you might ever fully realize. The visual of Ashley sitting on Helene's lap at Nikki's wedding was something that warmed my soul. I sat back in my seat and nothing else existed in that moment. That was the perfect picture of how I always remembered her being with you three. You were her heartbeat. She also loved her grandsons with her entire soul. I mean, Shauna and Matthew make beautiful children, and Helene was obsessed. She was also beyond excited about her baby girl having a baby girl. She lived for those precious moments. As Rob recently shared with me, life doesn't feel safe anymore. I so get that. Please know this, my friend. Life is about moments. There will be those moments where the muted rainbow shows its color here and there, and you will feel safe again. The moments are what matter, and I promise you they will present themselves to you again. Go slow. Take your time. Test it out. You will always have me in your corner to cheer you on and love you with my whole heart and soul. As you walk through this grief, Shauna, Ashley, Nikki, Rob, and Steve, please be gentle with yourselves. I give you my word that I will be here when you feel broken and remind you of your light. Keep shining. Keep moving through this. Keep moving through the storm. I hold your heart in mine, and I will hold your hand through the storm. Rest in peace, my beautiful friend. I hope you found that doorknob, and you're with your sweet Sonny, your true love Eric, your sweet mama, and the plethora of animals you loved and lost. Oh, I also hope you have that rogue tooth. Thank you for the moments that made my life richer. I love you forever.
Thank you, Donna, for those beautiful words of comfort and that powerful teaching and inspiration for all of us. We will have the opportunity to share words of comfort and strength with this lovely family. There will be a Shiva service tonight at Shauna and Matt's home. They live at 14 Laurel Hill Drive in Cherry Hill, and they'll be starting that service this evening at 6:30. Again, service 6:30 tonight at Shauna and Matthew's home. Please rise now for the memorial prayer, followed by the Warner's Kaddish.
Amalei Rachamim, Shochin Barumim, Hamitzei Menucha Nechona Tacha Kanfei Ashchina, Bimma Alot Kiddushim Utorim, Kizar Rakiel Mazhirim, Et Nishmat Chava Miriam Bashmuel, Shelcha Le'olama, Bigan Eden Tehei Menuchata, Ana Bal Rachamim Asirehu Ben Seter Kenafech Le'olamim, Utzora Bitzora Chayim Et Nishmata, Adonai v'nachlata, v'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava, v'nomar, Amen. Sought the compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and the pure to the soul of Chava Miriam, Bat Shmuel, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful one, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. Mourners invited to join in the words of the Kaddish. I'll say it slowly, and to join in with me, you can. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah be'alma divra hirute v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'bchaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam ul'omei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shmei dekudesha b'richo le'ela minko birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama Rabba min Shemaya V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom imromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Our God and God of our ancestors, 1,000 years in your sight are as a passing day and hour of night. Generations come and go while you endure forever. We're always in your hand, Adonai, in death as in life. Help us who mourn the loss of Helene to look beyond this moment, to realize that death cannot destroy the bonds of your everlasting love. Sustain us with the knowledge afforded by faith, that you will not allow us to suffer oblivion. For you, Eternal One, have taught us the way of life. Through you we gain eternity. And we say, Amen. Invited to be seated for a moment.
We can all rise once more.
Yoshek Besedra Yom Kitzel Shaddai Kunan Amarla Adonai Pasim Mitzudati Elohai Takbo Kuhiyat Silcham Yiprak Kush B'Devra Chavot Aritoya Sakla Katacha Kinafet Texan Sina V'Socher Alamito Lotira Mipak Adlaila Mikechu Milam B'Devra Rofa Yalo Mikecha Vishut Sarai Ipo Mitzucha Ela Ram Minecha Elacha Loikash Rak Minecha Tabi Pishla Rishim Tirek Ki atare maseo yon sancta menecha lo tune lecha raha, olega lo ikropo lecha, ki meleka bitzvach lishmacha v'kolarchecha, akapai misocha pendigo perog lecha, al shacham v'vetun tudok tulos kipivitine, ki v'achshachaf teo askabeo ki rashme, v'ko emot v'tzorach hatzeo v'achameo, orech imesliyeo v'areo v'shuati, orech imesliyeo v'areo v'shuati.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to ask you to stay where we are. I'm going to dismiss everyone row by row. Thank you very much.